Hi guys, it's Matt here from Oathwire on his own, all on his own, but not particularly because today I've got a new guest. I've got a new host, and that guest is Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hey, I've been on Oathwire once.
You have. Chris interviewed you, did he not?
Yeah, and he never told us who got the most correct.
He didn't.
Results.
That's true. We'll have to trawl through all of them and sit there with a timer and do it that way. That sounds a good idea. But I'll have a chat with him. Yeah. So no. Thank you for coming back on. Really appreciate it. So
my pleasure.
We're gonna kind of do this is episode 42. We're gonna do similar things. We're not changing too much, but we have got the new section. So what's new for you?
New for me is I'm gonna start up my solo campaign again for Rangers of Shadow Deep.
Awesome.
Normally we play cooperatively. So most of my Rangers of Shadow Deep experience over the years has been a cooperative one. I started on my own, and then we formed a group and we were playing through, and that was a lot of fun, but just with the situation as it is now, we haven't been able to continue the campaign, and I've always wanted to record it and put up bat reps, so I'm going to start from the beginning.
Oh, cool.
It's my big project.
Oh, amazing. I mean, I'm still doing 30 for 30, so I've got my table is covered. Absolutely covered. I was making people can't see this, but Dave might be able to. I was making terrain yesterday.
Oh yeah, spooky.
Yeah, woodland stuff with snow. So I've been doing all that. Got loads of them. Swamp stuff for rangers as well. So yeah, doing all those sort of things. So yeah, I've been just busy. So I haven't done anything rangers related. Obviously, Brett over on YouTube is getting his stuff done, which is quite cool. So that's quite exciting because get to see that. So and what's new for me? I hear you shout.
What is it?
Oh, who knows? But yeah, no. So why are we talking? Because we are doing something a little bit new on Oathwire, and that is we are going to be covering some of other Joe's games. So tonight we're going to start covering Rangers of Shadow Deep. We've also going to be doing some Frostgrave out there as well. So we're going to do 2 weeks. We're going to do Oathmark. And then we're going to do once a month Rangers of Shadow Deep, and once a month Frostgrave. And as we go through, we're going to keep adding bits and pieces in that, change it around for each season. We're going to just chat about Joe's games, really, because we don't enjoy Oathmark, because we do, but what we don't want to do is keep repeating ourselves about the same pieces of information. I just think it's going to give some space for Oathmark to develop, get more people playing it, and getting some more interesting guests on. So I've got some interesting guests that have agreed to come on already. So Ash from Guerrilla War Games is going to come on. I'm really looking forward to that. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, he's a big YouTuber. I've got Osprey coming on to talk about Frostgrave, which is the new supplement that Joe's just about to release in, I can't remember, December the 12th or something like that. So you'll hear that before before that comes out. So that'd be quite cool. Get some sneaky peeks in there. So yeah, we're going to try and develop the channel a bit more and see where it's going to take us, and hopefully I don't shed all the losers. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Hopefully I don't shed all of the listeners, and I lose all of the listeners, which is what I was trying to say, that Chris and Michael have built up over the last 40 weeks, and we can carry on with Oathmark and Oathwire and all of the things that we've been doing and having great fun doing.
Well, I'm sure a man of action like you can only build up.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah, it's big. I've got some big shoes to fill as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but it's scary at the same time. But we move on. So segue into a bit. Actually, as you mentioned, you're going to start doing your filming your solo play. So today's main topic is going to be Rangers of the Shadow Deep, setting up for a solo game. What do you do? What do you need to do? How do you do it? And that's it. So I'm going to chuck it over to you, Dave. Do you mind being called Dave, David? I don't know.
Yeah, David. That's all good.
David. Well, I'll call you Dave, David.
David.
Double D. So, but yeah, no, I'll hand it over. So you're about to start a new campaign. You're going to start. Are you starting from the very first mission?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I played up to where you enter the tower in mission 2 or scenario 2, mission 2. So I played up to scenario 2, mission 2.
Okay.
I have most of the stuff already prepared. So the terrain and whatnot. I have the spiderweb trees. I have rivers and bridges and all that sort of thing. Right now I'm working on my well for the center of the village, which is pretty exciting.
Oh, cool.
For the very first mission. But
well, you've made that, or you've printed it, or
yeah, my friend printed it out for me.
Okay.
So, and then it was green, bright green. So it was FDM as well.
All right.
So
okay.
I finally got it rattle can primed because this is the most effective way, I think, to prime the FDM. So it's not so green anymore.
No, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the FDM stuff, but that's personal. I've got some, but it's you can see the technology. So I'm sure there's some better technology out there for it, but that's me.
Right.
I don't know.
For certain things, it's okay. Like this old well, it's going to have some texture in it, but I think that's perfect for something that's been sitting out in a village of no name for who knows how long.
It's very true. Very true. So, what have you set out? What have you done? What are you going to do? I know you do a YouTube channel, so I presume that you're going to be putting it on there and sending that out for people to watch. So just let us try and take us through your thought processes, characters, terrain, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, even before I started the YouTube channel, I've always been big into the visual aspect. So when I first came into Rangers, I think I joined the group just before the game launched.
Okay.
So I just heard that there's going to be a game like Frostgrave, but it was going to be solo. I was pretty excited. So I joined in. Joseph started revealing little spoilers, like you're going to need these monsters, you're going to need these things for setup. So I've been working on it since the beginning.
All right, cool.
For terrain to build a visual aspect. So I have been trying to make a perfect replica of every scenario. So I bought some bird houses. I made those into regular houses.
All right.
I bought a mat off of AliExpress, I think it was.
All right.
Those little grass mats, which are very springy. So then,
the false grass, the kind of thing.
They're super bouncy. So what I learned is after I bought some Christmas trees and wrapped them with spider webbing, I put them on there and they just fall over because there's no stability. So you need bigger bases.
Okay.
For taller objects. So it's all been a learning curve as I've been going along.
All right. Okay.
So which all translates into a YouTubery as well. A visual presentation, getting all your miniatures painted up, building up the bestiary. Yeah.
That's there's quite a few beasts in there that you might not find elsewhere as well.
It's true.
Yeah. Some stuff you're like, what?
I think we're going to talk about miniatures later. So I'm
absolutely.
Too far into that.
No.
I'd say when starting with Rangers of Shadow Deep, the best thing is just to take the first mission and get done things for that mission. So if you want to have a nice visual presentation, you're going to source out your houses. You're going to source out, if you want to do a little stream and bridge, a little stream bridge, you got to build up your rocks and your trees. Otherwise, you could probably just get away with a flat board and just have cardboard standees for certain things if you want to have a less visually compelling experience.
Yeah, I've seen guy on the Frostgrave channel, that Facebook group, actually, he's been using some paper characters and stuff like that. It's certainly just bought the new Viking terrain set from from Battle Systems, which is a really easy to put together card terrain. I saw it set up at Salute, and it was really nice. And you get quite a lot. I paid 60 quid. Don't know what that is in dollars or Canadian dollars, but I don't know what, 90 US dollars or something like that. And they get quite a lot of material. They do a like a feudal village version, and they do a castle version as well. But it's ideal for this setup, and you can buy individual buildings and stuff like that. So you don't have to go out and buy MDF or anything, do you? You don't have to go and spend vast fortunes on stuff. You can use whatever's available to you.
Absolutely, you could go old school, books and rocks and things, just whatever you can find lying around. Yeah, build it all the way up to a visual masterpiece. I haven't had a chance to work with the battle systems. I haven't seen them in action, but from what I've seen, like pictures, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Brett over he went over to Saudi. I think he bought everything. So he's got everything, and he was the one that put me onto it. And then he's obviously I've seen his battle reports. And I was like, for Shadows, and I was like, wow, yeah, okay, you convinced me.
His battle reports he's putting out are pretty beautiful.
They are, yeah.
It's really well done.
They are. But yes, so terrain is definitely key to this game, I think, because like you said, you need a busy table, don't you? Otherwise, it's just. And if you're playing on your own, what's the point of just playing with like 2 trees and a building? It's not going to excite you very much, I don't think.
It's true. If you have access to an LGS and they have a good train table set up, or a good train setup like we used to have for our cooperative games, then it's pretty great.
Yeah.
If you're doing it on your own, it can be a bit daunting at first.
Yeah.
So that's what you might end up sparse just because of necessity. You haven't built up your collection.
Very true.
DIY takes a lot of time, especially if you want to get it to the table. So it's tough that way. That's where a flat pack terrain isn't so bad, where even just cardboard cutouts. You say these are the houses, these are the trees, so you know for sure that your line of sight's blocked in certain areas.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like you said, it's ideal for it when you're getting into it. When you certainly, when I buy a new set of rules, I don't go all in. I never go all in because I don't know if I'm going to like the game. So I buy a set of rules, read it, and then I go, okay, well, I'm going to invest X amount into something, and then that's where I go. That's how I sort of approach these things. But when I first picked up Rangers, I was like, that's a bit like D&D, and then played it, and I was like, yep, right, I'm playing this for it.
That's right, I'm committed.
Oh yeah, so and that was in lockdown. That's where it came to me. So, but yes, so I think the good thing about it is again you've got standard Joe stuff. It's figure agnostic. He's not. You can get figures that are aimed at that from North Star. They do a really nice range. I've picked some of those up myself, but you can use whatever you like. I've seen there's all sorts of stuff out there, isn't there, that people are using. And the same with the terrain, I suppose. You can use, if you've only got Middle Eastern buildings, put Middle Eastern buildings down, I suppose.
It's true, yeah. It's not set anywhere in specifics, so it's very nice.
So it's generic. So if you're playing historical, like I was, came from a historical background, I was picking up the buildings and stuff like that, and I had European buildings from World War II and stuff like that, and I used those. It looked a bit out of odd, but then I also had some Dark Age ones, so I used like some hovels and stuff like that. So it's just that's what I kind of try and stick with that with the wargaming anyway. So it's like, well, I can use that for that, and that. So I haven't got infinite space.
If you do commit yourself to building up the bestiary and terrain from Rangers of Shadowdeep, though, you're pretty much set for any kind of fantasy encounter.
That's true.
For multiple systems.
Yeah, there's quite a lot.
It's deep.
It is. I mean, if you play D&D and you've got lots of figures for D&D, you can jump into this game really quickly, I think.
Oh yeah.
So it's worth, if you're interested in sort of doing something slightly different from D&D, I would definitely this would be the thing I would point at, and I have done that with a couple of people that have just played role-playing games, and I was like, you want to try this? And they were like, wow, this is so good fun, and so it's just and you can use all those sort of WizKid models and stuff like that. It's like I said, you might not have 20 giant flies, but but you need those sort of things, and they always come in handy. And Joe is quite good when it comes to writing his games, because you'll see the same beast in several of his books.
Yeah.
So if you got it for one, the likelihood is you've got it for two or three. So
yeah. I think before they started doing Blaster magazine, Joe kind of put out a call to all his fellows to implement like little modules to have giant flies in their games too.
Oh,
so
really?
This Is Not a Test has one. For sure, Ash's Last Days. Is it called Last Days? I think so. The zombie apocalypse one.
Yeah.
He put flies in for that. So you'll find them in a few other of the
Associates
games as well. It's pretty cool.
All right, that's cool.
Just so you could have more use for these giant flies that were.
Yeah. No, I really didn't know that. That's awesome. So there you go. So once you got through the bestiary, it's fairly straightforward. Getting characters and stuff like that. The rules are very simple. I mean, when I picked it up, they were very intuitive.
Yeah, I found them a bit confusing at first because I hadn't played Frostgrave. But like just trying to read through them, for some reason I didn't quite get it. But once I put it on the tabletop, I went through it a few times. I'm like, oh, okay, this all adds up. And then honestly, I'm a huge fan of the swingy D20. Yeah. I love swingy D20. I don't want that 2D10.
No.
Predictable stuff, man.
Yeah, no. I it's when you roll that 20 and then the other person rolls the 20 and you're like, huh? How's that happen? But yeah, no, it's or you roll the 1 and you go, well, yeah, I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah. It's like, I gathered all my companions, I boosted up, I got my enhancements, I'm gonna charge that giant rat and die.
Yeah. And it's like, that shouldn't happen. It's like, but yeah. No, it's a dice game, let's be honest. So you can't min-max stuff and you can still perish really badly. So I like it for that as well. I do like the whole thing with the D20. It does make it swingy, but then people get lucky shots in. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, one of the intro games we had with a friend, he didn't realize how dangerous it was to go alone. So in the very first mission, he lost. I think he lost his ranger to a giant rat or a man-at-arms. Somebody who was pretty formidable.
Yeah.
But yeah, just taken out by a giant rat. The value of teamwork.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing is obviously if you're doing solo, you actually don't need hundreds of figures. It's a very simple start on the figure range. If you have starting from scratch, you only need 20 figures, maybe I would say, to get through the first scenario.
Yeah, you just need a few zombies, some giant rats, some spiders, a couple of town folk, and whatever companions you want to bring.
Yeah.
So
there's some giant spiders some giant spiders for later on, which you can go down to your local dollar store or whatever kind of sort of cheap shop that you've got, and go and pick up some plastic spiders if you don't want to invest in there. Or
while you're there, grab some giant flies.
Yeah, that's what I did. I bought some off eBay. I got like 20 giant flies off of eBay. They were joke flies.
Yeah.
to put into people's whatever, and then there was I bought my spiders online as well from China for pennies. So I've still got them. I use them for Oathmark, but I have bought some other ones as well. So I printed some other ones. So, but you can never have enough spiders, I said.
It's true. Yeah, you always end up with a lot of spiders. I don't know why.
So I've never really played it solo. I've played it all cooperative. So for me, it's quite a novel idea. I'm not a big solo player. I have solo played, but not very often, not for a long time, because I'm lucky, like a lot of people in the UK. Well, in the lockdown, I had family that my son would play with me, but also, I've got clubs very close to me and all that sort of stuff. So I'm quite lucky. So I don't need to play it, if that makes sense. So
honestly, I think it is a blast playing co-op over solo.
Yeah,
it's a great game to play solo, but I think the shared experience is really what ties it together, because you're all sharing in the same story.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to the next part. You're talking about it. You can look through the book and strategize, work together. When you're by yourself, it's fine. You just set it up, go about your business. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like the shared experience, co-op is really where Rangers of Shadow Deep shines.
So that's where it shines. That's where it's where you think it's good. Yeah, I mean, and that's it. It's like the first game we played. It was like, right.
Yeah.
We ain't got enough time, but and you get that progression. Like you said, you get the chatter of talking to friends and family about what skill you're picking next and all that sort of stuff. So and it is good fun. It's good fun from that point of view. So, but I mean, for me, you obviously, I know that you've got your nearest neighbour's 800 miles away. I don't. It's not that far away. I know it's that, but it's difficult for you to get out to to wherever it is and get people to play. So, what does the experience of the solo play bring to you? And then we'll sort of take that into how you want to record it and that sort of stuff.
I think now really just recording is the solo experience for me.
Right. Okay.
Because it's easier to record things by yourself, honestly. You can take your time, you can set up your camera shots, work on your lighting. You're not worried about wasting other people's time while you're trying to set up.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that.
But even if I couldn't record it, I think I still would just play solo by myself.
Yeah.
Just because you have the luxury of like making it to a certain part without any, having to wait for anyone else. If someone can't make it to your game day sort of thing, and you don't want to progress the story, then you just got to find a different game to play.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely know, because somebody cancels on you last minute and you're like, I want to play this though. So there's definitely that benefit. So and you're right. I mean, because I've done some battle reports for Oathmark, and I'm very sort of aware that I don't, these guys want to play a game, and they don't necessarily want me to go, wait there, I've got to stop the camera. I need you to do that all again. So, which I don't do. I don't do it. I probably should do. Probably produce a lot better battle reports than I'm currently doing. But that's how it's working at the moment for me. So I've been kind of thinking about it, because I'm going to do the Silver Bayonet. I'm going to play that solo. So that'll be my first true solo game. So am I going to record that? And I've been trying to sort of scratch my brain about how to do it. So yeah, it's good. It's good to talk about that sort of thing if you want to do it for YouTube, or even if you just want to play it and do some pictures and put it up in the group. Because if you are far away from everybody, it's nice to get some appreciation for all the work you've done. But so yeah, just super conscious, I suppose, of all of that sort of going around. So what's your plan?
Like a teammate, like how Michael and Chris, they got a dynamic. I'm pretty sure you could throw them in any situation. They'd work well together. It's not the same with everyone. Like you could have friends that you enjoy playing games with, but they're not necessarily on the same level when it comes to creating entertainment. They're more about having the entertainment. So
no, absolutely. I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and I play with two of the same guys most of the time, and they understand. Apart from one, still can't understand. I want you to throw the dice there so I can record it. But do it. No, you haven't done it still. But no. But yeah, no. So that's when I'm playing against new players. That's when I get concerned, because I'll get people coming down to traveling to me to play a game because they haven't played it before or whatever, and I'm like, you're okay if I record this? It's like, I might have to faff around a bit. So yeah, the recording side for me is quite fun. I like talking about it, all that sort of stuff. So what have you bought? What have you got in? What are you doing to do all that recording? For solo play. We know you need some D20. We know we've got the characters. We know we've got that. We're off. I mean, we don't. You can leave. I mean, the good thing about Rangers is it's on a small table, so you may even be able to leave it set up. So you just boom, 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 the tables onto the next table, onto the next table. So you can get a few games in maybe as well if you've got nothing else going on. But obviously with friends and stuff like that, you have to you wait for them to turn up, like you just said. So when you set up for filming, what were you looking at doing? What equipment, or how you're going to film it, all that sort of stuff? I'd be really interested to.
I certainly haven't perfected anything yet.
Oh, right.
I started off with let's see, I had a Pixel XL from my very first solo bat rep at home.
Okay.
I set it up on my kitchen table. I took as many lights as I could into the kitchen area because the lighting isn't particularly terrific.
Yeah.
And I bought a cheap lapel mic that I could plug into my phone.
Yes.
Because it's better than the built-in audio.
Absolutely.
And recorded from there. And it was okay, Did the trick. I did like a gorilla cam like Ash does. So I moved the camera about, and then I came back and edited, which took a while.
Yeah.
My theory now is I'll have a better camera coming.
Okay.
I'm getting a Pixel 6 Pro.
Ooh.
Which have a pretty formidable camera. I have more of those those ring lights, so I can target lighting at a certain area.
Which
is going to help a lot. The less light you have, the more grain you get in your video, I find.
Oh, right. Okay.
Especially with the older equipment, because the chips try to keep up with all the artifacts that they're seeing. So they're trying to clarify everything. But so for my 3A, which I was using for a while, I would find the video would stutter when I was moving around.
Okay.
So now I'm going to try to just keep things set up. I'm working through OBS, so it's going to run over Wi-Fi. So I can go over there. I can manually zoom in where I need to zoom into, focus what I need to focus into, record audio on my computer, which will sound better. And then, so I'll just do it in short clips. So instead of Gorilla Cam, where I'm just moving the camera everywhere, I'll have it set up. I'll go to my computer, narrate the scene, move to the next one.
Okay. Well, I don't know anybody else. I just got a load of hit. I got a load of tips. So yeah, I didn't. There's some things that I do all my audio as I'm going. So that's a good idea doing it afterwards. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. I didn't know about the green. So
just unfortunately, because no camera I've ever used or the phone I've used, even with the lapel mic, the audio is really only adequate at best. Yeah, so it's a little bit sharp. It doesn't have the filters you can put in on your computer. So recording it from my computer will just make it a lot easier. And if I'm doing it at the time, then it's all fresh in my mind.
Yeah. I bought one of those cheap Chinese lapel things as well, which was okay, but it was really difficult to get anybody else to be heard when I was doing it. So, I bought a bigger, stronger thing, but I don't know. I'm probably not using that properly either, because the last audio I did was terrible. But there we go.
Yeah, it's always so sad. You do everything and then you get to your audio and you're like, oh, well, that was ruined.
So when you're doing your character progression and you're doing, you're using the AI to play the game. I mean, that's the thing that I always get is, do you find yourself giving yourself bias towards your team? Because when some of the AIs it's like, oh, I'm going to do this, but it's like, oh, I don't want to do that because my character's going to die.
Yeah, so, I'm pretty impartial overall.
Okay.
I find, and having played with co-op so much, it's also easy to say no. The enemy would definitely be going out there to kill you, and then your friend might also say, oh yeah, don't. Definitely, you're going to die in this situation. So you have checks and balances in the co-op solo. Yeah, you just have to be as impartial as you can. I mean, you're your biggest hindrance in that aspect. But it's fun to see, in the end, if they're going to survive or not. You always got that one last roll, so they're not guaranteed to be dead.
Yeah, as you said, the swinginess. The giant fly that you've just slaughtered 30 of turns up and kills your main character, and you just sit there going, "Really? Okay." I could go back to when I'm 8 years old and go, when I was using the Final Fantasy. Well, I didn't die. I'm going to go back a page. I did go the right way. I'm not going to go the other way. But
that's right.
Definitely did that when I was a kid.
We did have one game where one of our friends' characters, our rangers, actually did die. Like on the end, he rolled a 1.
Oh dear!
It was pretty traumatic, actually.
Yeah.
More than I thought it would be. It's like, oh, what does this mean for the game? Like, is he going to come back? Is he just done now?
What did he come back?
Like the friend? Well, basically, COVID happened, so nobody.
All right. Okay.
I think he will though.
Yeah,
I think he's still in.
All right, that's cool. Yeah,
now you have to roll up a whole new ranger, after we're done working our way through, what were we on? The Burning Light. There we go. So I guess he's out of the games for a while.
Well, yeah, I'd be like, if it was me. We're playing Stargrave at a club at the moment, so we've actually got a rule that the captains can't die. So we put that in there because it's like quite highly invested in it, and it's like if he dies and you've got level 10 characters fighting against them and that gang sort of thing, is that what you want to be doing? So I mean, you could always implement that. Your main character can't die. You can become injured and all that sort of stuff, but I suppose it depends what you want to do.
Yeah, I guess it'd be imbalanced too then if you lost your high level guy and now you're a low level guy who has to fight high level guys.
Yeah.
The teamwork aspect of Rangers would help at least, because even if you're a low level Ranger, you can still rely on your friends. Will be high level.
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very true. But the problem, I suppose, you've got in solo players is you've only got your companions. So who in the best will known to man, they're okay, but they aren't no Ranger, are they? Let's be honest.
Well, you need those numbers for the bonuses.
Yeah, definitely. So no, cool. So when do you expect that you're going to be starting?
I expect shortly.
Okay.
I'm going to finish up this well, and I think the rest of my terrain is done. I lost my Ranger, so I found my Ranger. I had to clean up my hobby room because we had a guest finally come, and my hobby room is the guest room. So I put the Ranger in a box somewhere, and I got to find that box. I got some recruits I need to get painted up, and everything else is good to go because I'd been prepared. I just doing a refresh game, and I've decided to change one night out for 4 recruits because 4 recruits is definitely going to be better than one night.
Yes, definitely.
I know some people think, numbers aren't everything, and challenge is always something. But having played solo, I know for sure the challenge is going to be there, even at the not even at the bigger challenge level.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing. If you've got, if there's only one Ranger, that's that. When you got 4 and you've got 1 companion each, it does make it vastly easier. Like you said, because you can also tailor the guys to what you need. When we formed a group, we always would have somebody that was really good at archery, and then we'd have one guy that was doing he would make sure he'd have sort of concentrating spell wise, sort of that sort of thing. So from that point of view, for me it was it's much easier because you can sort of leave gaps in your character for others to fill it in. So I can see where it's a lot harder.
I'm also going off my original Ranger build. I decided I'm not going to change anything.
Are you going to go back to square one?
Yeah, and I gave him all Magic Bolt. It's all his only abilities are Magic Bolt.
All right, okay.
So it's going to be a challenge that I don't have a healer.
All right.
We're going to see what happens from there.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. And I want to play through, so I'm going to stick with the original treasure charts until we get to the book that has the new treasure charts, which I think is Ghost Stone.
Okay.
So I want to keep my, just rolling on the old charts until we get to Ghost Stone and they can do the card flipping. Better magical weapons and stuff. And same with companions. I'm not going to bring in a spy originally. Like in the earlier games, I'll wait till I get to, I think it's Temple of Madness.
Yes.
Then you get a spy. Spies are really good. I really like that spy.
I've not used them. Okay. What do they do?
They're just a really good all-rounder. They got a distraction spell. They got a few handy abilities, and they're decent in a fight.
Okay.
So I always found my spy did a lot of work in our games.
Okay. Yeah, I've always had. I don't know. Maybe it's a me thing, but I've always had lots of combat orientated guys. So I sort of just run out and chop things up and hope for the best.
The distraction spell definitely came handy a few times.
All right. Okay. Oh, cool. That's I think what we're going to cover with solo playing today. And so the next subject we're going to cover just for Rangers is picking your characters, your minis. So where do you get them from? What do you do? And why would you do that? So for me, I picked my minis. The first ones I used, my Rangers were Anglo-Saxons because that's what I had. So all of my guys were Dark Age figures, and then I purchased a load of the metals from North Star. I like them, and I know Joe gets part of the licensing agreement part of it. And I just thought, I like them, and I'll use them for that reason, sort of support him and his games. But there's so many things out there. I've just also got in some new STLs that I'm gonna be looking to use. Rangers from Print All the Minis. The prints keep going on. So I just bought them, and they look awesome. So, but how do you sit there? What's your thinking around what you're going to be picking to go and play this game?
I've been a miniatures collector for a very long time, without any real aim.
Okay.
So when Rangers came out, I'm like, oh, finally, I can just use a bunch of my random stuff. So I got some like Warhammer dudes. I got some old metal magic guys, just Relpartha, all sorts of things.
Okay.
So I started with that. And then over time, I became a little bit pickier. So I started thinking about how do they actually scale together? Because you got, like the Warhammer guys have giant boxing glove hands versus, say, like a gripping beast guy, which is very modestly proportioned. I think it really started when I picked up the box of the nulls, because the nulls are very small compared to like some dudes.
Yeah, they are. They are small beast.
So I started kind of rearranging things. So out went some of the bigger, more heroically chunky dudes, and in came in more historicals or the Frostgrave. I have some of the Rangers of the Shadow guys as well. They all scale pretty nice together.
Yeah. So you sort of so you moved away. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Uber scale stuff. They call it 28 to 32. And then it's a struggle. It's 32. So I still think it's probably more 35, some of it. It's neither here nor there, what I think. But I'm not a big fan of that. So. But I think Rangers personally lends itself to that more historical feel. It's more sort of less fantasy, more reality with some scary monsters in it. So I know it's fantasy, but it just sort of lends itself to the more realistic fantasy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's the low fantasy is what they call it.
Well, there you go. I genuinely didn't know there was actually a name for it. So
Warhammer Fantasy Battle would be a good example of high fantasy, because you got a mage who can destroy half your army, sort of thing.
Okay.
In Rangers of Shadow Deep, you got a wizard who can shoot a spell through a mirror, and that's probably as good as it gets.
Okay.
He's the powerful guy. He can shoot a spell through a mirror. He's not blowing up armies.
No. He's
mirror magic.
Yeah. He's okay. There you go. You learn something new. I've heard of high fantasy. Never heard of low fantasy. It shows you. Again, I'm coming from a point of view as a historical player, so that doesn't surprise people that know me. But I've never heard of it. So now I know. That's probably where it's switched me on. So it's that D&D vibe thing going on, isn't it? Let's be honest. That's you can't destroy something with one hit, and it will keep fighting and that sort of stuff. So, all right.
That's part of my scale switch too, just because the bigger, chunkier guys didn't quite mesh with the whole vibe. I felt as I played more of the game, so my original vision of the game kind of changed the more I played it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you saw it in the sense of higher fantasy, or?
I went from like basically just a mix of fantasy, a big chunky battle, to more, the low fantasy experience kind of, to me, said, okay, so the guys with the giant impressive weapons don't really exist in this kind of setting in my mind.
Okay.
Or the wizard like tossing this giant fireball from each hand doesn't necessarily exist. You could split cast a fireball, of course.
Yeah. You haven't got any magic weapons that are going to be crushing, so you don't need those, one bloke on a base the size of a small town to
with a sword the size of your companion's
Yeah.
entire body.
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I couldn't imagine it being played. Actually, I couldn't imagine it being played with that. I've seen people playing it with Lego. That's a thought. So I know there's people out there doing that, which is quite interesting. I've seen people using dwarves, which is quite fun. There's some dwarfs I know are coming out soon, fantasy guys, from a company called Infamous Wargaming. He's been popping up his greens up on various websites, and there's 30 of them, and they're all fantasy sort of looking sort of adventure kits basically for dwarves. I think that'd be ideal to go and play Rangers with just using dwarves. So that'd be quite fun. So, but I've seen all sorts of stuff, and obviously there's a vast array of stuff out there that could be printed off. So
and there's old miniatures like Ralpartha.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people don't like working with metal, but I have no.
You mean the young people?
Well, some old people do.
No, I know. I'm joking. I prefer metal. I prefer how the paint goes on it. I prefer how it works. I prefer everything about metal. That's me. So I feel like you get the heft, you get that weight of picking up the model, and and feeling it. And I get why people like the plastics, because I like the plastics as well, and I like you see people doing some amazing kit bashing, and they really do. There's some stuff goes up on the Facebook page, and you're like, wow, that's really nice, or they use GW trolls and this, that, and the other, and they are really nice. But you can do a little bit of work with metal. Obviously, not too much. It depends on your level of skill as well, I suppose. But a bit of green stuff and bits and pieces, I think you can convert metals to do something different to how they come. I've done that on some of my metal stuff for my dwarf army, so it's definitely doable. But I like the old sculpts because I'm old.
Yeah, I like the old sculpts too.
Yeah. So, guys, go and buy some old sculpts.
Buy more sculpts.
Yes. I don't know. Are they more environmentally friendly than plastic as well? Metal? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah. It'd be interesting to know what sort of chemicals bleach from both of them. So I know what I've seen of when they're spinning up models, that anything goes to waste. Nothing goes to waste even. If you get a bad casting and all that sort of stuff, they chuck them back, and they go straight back into the metal pot for melting down. So, because obviously it's expensive stuff, so you're not necessarily going to be binning a badly molded figure. So some people would just supply it badly. No, I won't go there. So that's interesting. So I think that's interesting. I may be wrong. People will tell me. So I mean, there's lots of figures out there, guys. I mean, if you're already playing this game, you've got the likelihood is you came from a Frostgrave background. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know when we post this up. Okay.
Yeah, I did not come from a Frostgrave background.
Oh, right. Okay.
The people I started playing Rangers of Shadow Deep with said they liked the idea of Frostgrave, but they hated the fact that the companions are basically meaningless. Right. You have, your thug or your knight or whatever, and they don't really matter. If they die, you just replace them.
Yes.
The only thing that matters is your wizard and your apprentice and the captain, I guess, later on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people liked Rangers of Shadow Deep because, everyone matters in your party. Your lowly recruit, can be a hero.
Yeah.
They're gonna level up.
Yeah.
Can experience.
No, that is true. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I said that, and in the same breath, I was thinking, well, actually, I hadn't played Frostgrave at all when I played Rangers of the Shadow. I had seen it or listened to it about it on a podcast. Somebody was talking about it, whether it was with Joe or something, I can't remember. And I thought, oh, cooperative play. Yeah, I might have to get my hands on that. So that's where I came from. So yeah, I hadn't played it at all, and then that got me into the rest of Joe games. So vice versa. I can suppose that I can see what people's thoughts are on 80% of your warband being chucked away. You're not concerned about it, especially if you've got loads of money. I like that about Rangers as well. You're not worried about the money because they're already being paid by the king.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for your characters, are you thinking about what you want to do with your character, rolling him up and saying, well, this is going to be who's who kind of thing, and then pick the character, or have you picked your figure and you're going, okay, I'm going to roll up my figure?
Yeah,
because that's how he looks.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I do it. I just pick the miniature I want to play and then build a character on that.
Yeah.
So the first guy was he was based on the Mad Hatter miniature from Black Scorpion, which is a guy with a blunderbuss.
All right. Okay.
And there's no firearms in Rangers of Shadow Deep. So I'm
like,
okay, this is a guy with a magical stick that shoots out magic bolts. That's why he's got nothing but magic bolts.
That seems reasonable.
And then when I was doing a cooperative ranger, I picked out like an old elf noble, but like a cool giant sword and a giant bow, and he was my co-op guy. I'm like, this guy can just do everything, because obviously just looking at him, he looks like he can do anything.
Okay.
So I built him as a good all-rounder.
Okay.
Not just a guy who throws magic bolts around.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, I picked up because I had some Anglo-Saxons, so I was like, okay, these are Anglo-Saxons. This guy, they all look a bit choppy, so that's what most of mine are. I think I had one wizard-looking figure at the time. Actually, I lie, he was a priest. So I had a gripping beast priest, the guy with the cross and everything, and I made him the companion wizard because he looked quite cool too. So that was my thinking around it. But yeah, I kept on looking at the figures, and that's what I went back to. So I've got, like I said, we made ours to fit the team. So we got the bowman, we got the magician, the ones from the North Star fit perfectly into that sort of fitting for us. So yeah, it's quite good in that sense. So I think we're going to move next on to our next topic, which is Homebrew Adventures.
Very exciting.
Okay, yeah. So from this, guys, what we're going to do is there is a lot of homebrew stuff up on the Facebook page. I don't know if there's stuff elsewhere. I suspect there is, but I'm only aware of the stuff on Facebook at the moment. So what I've done is, and it's not in any way to criticize anybody, I just want to make sure that we're just going to have a look at the scenarios that people have written up and advertising, I suppose, that they're there. Somebody has spent a lot of time doing it. Joe, when this game came out, I noticed there was quite a lot of stuff going up, and I spoke to Joe recently on this podcast about Oathwire, and we were talking about it. He actually then decided to give out a sheet where the guys could put that as a front page, so it could look like it's an official piece of adventure. He did that just so give it a bit of an IP break, so you know what's what. But I've not many games do that, I have to say. There's not many systems out there that encourage you and then give you product or something to be able to go away and do that. So what we wanted to do is just have a look at these things and have a sort of overview of what's available. So the first one we're going to cover, which is today, is the scenario one for the Mystery of the Stone Garden. So this one I found on the Facebook page. It's written by Chuck Green from the Wizard of Ozarks. I have no idea who Chuck is or where the Wizard of Ozarks are. But is it, maybe it's the Ozarks that's on Netflix, and that's the only bit of the Ozarks I know. So we're going to have a look at this. Have you read this? You must have done, because I sent it to you.
I have looked at it twice.
Excellent. So I suppose the first thing I have to say is, wow, he's got spent a lot of time getting the formatting on this look really nice. Actually, it looks professional, doesn't it? It's got some nice little illustration in there. He's got some bits and pieces. You know, he's everything you anticipate from seeing when you pick up a mission from Joe in the book. So he's got that there. I don't know how he's done it, but it looks nice.
I think Joe released which font he used at one point.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, right. So there's actually, right. That I didn't know. So you can, I wonder where that is. That'd be worth us finding out for the next conversation. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, it shows your friend now. You should just ask him.
Yeah. I will ask him. I think it'd be a stretch calling Joe my friend. He's like, oh God, it's that boy again, that bloke again. Boy? I'm not a boy, but
that lad.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, I don't want to talk to him. But yeah. So I didn't realise that. That's quite interesting. So there you go, guys. If you want to write your own mission up, there's an official font out there for you.
Ago that he released the font. Too,
oh, right, okay. But it must be in the.
You might have to dig.
Yeah, I mean, and if not, I might actually genuinely ask Joe and say, "Can you pop that up again?" You know, if people are interested. So, yeah. But yeah, so that was my first thought. Any thoughts from you about just sort of?
Yeah, the presentation is quite lovely. It's very easy to read. It's not a wall of text, but it is a lot of text.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I've glanced at it twice, but I don't think I've quite absorbed it. I would have to really go through the setup first.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks simple enough, honestly.
No, and he's got most of the miniatures that you need in there, as we expect. You've got giant rats, 3+, 3 giant spiders, horned devils, and a stone lizards, and some survivors. So he's actually come up with his own beasts as well. So that's pretty cool. So he's got the horned devil and the stone lizard, and he's given the stats in there for the scenario. I have to say,
if you're a Frostgrave player, you should probably have something like imps then.
Yes.
Or little devils.
Yes.
And then this, I don't know about the stone lizard. I'm not sure if there's basilisks or anything like that in Frostgrave. But if you have a Surmas, I bet you could use the Surma.
That's a very good idea. Yeah. Or if you've got like what the lizard men things from GW, I suspect they have got something that's got some sort of spikes and.
Oh yeah.
There's a nice little illustration in there to looking at, so you sort of got a visual aid in there. You could even probably use some sort of dinosaur thing going on there. So
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it looks cool. It is aimed at and it says here it's a high level Rangers, so maybe you want to pick this up. Don't pick this up as your first mission when you want to play, because maybe you want to, you've only got the rules and you want to try one mission with some mates. Do that. I think it's very clear, looking at the beasts, they're not going to be they're not a walkover. So I would definitely be not starting this mission off without doing the other ones in the book first. So yeah,
where would you place this if you're going chronologically?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I saw somebody put that up on the Facebook group yesterday or today or something like that. I bought the the deluxe edition. So I would probably think about playing that after the first and second scenario book. So the book you get with the original rules and the second one. So I think that's definitely would take you through. I mean, if you'd got through all that, you're probably looking at a level 5, 6 ranger, would you say?
I think so. Yeah, I'm looking at the Horned Devils. They look pretty tough. They should stick around. It's the stone lizard that really is scary in this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's got that armor 14 is going to. That's you're going to need to keep rolling high. So you're going to need those addition. You're going to need those additions to make sure that only got 15 health points as well. So it's not gonna be. You're not going to kill it in with one hit. That's for sure.
It does look like you want to tie it up at least with a few companions.
Yes.
Because it gets more dangerous if there's nothing around it.
Yeah, definitely.
In short range, especially.
Yeah. It's gonna want to charge into you. I mean, it's got the shoot ability at +4, which is brilliant. But it's also got the +4 for fight, and it's going to fancy itself. I would definitely, if I was going to have a beast, it would be this one. a great companion instead of a battle dog. So I think I think it looks a really good little scenario. I think it's put a lot of thought into there. The experience, there's quite a lot of experience in there, so you probably it's going to be a good one to get your characters up to that next level for sure. I think it was at 35. There's a lot of experience in there, so it's at least 100 plus in there. For if you're able to achieve everything. I don't know how achievable that. I haven't played this yet, so hands up. I just wanted to kind of review it, and I don't know. So
does it give a max? Someone's like a Joe scenario usually will have a max, doesn't it, of how much experience you can get?
Yeah, I don't see it in there, to be honest. There's no maximum in there, so maybe there is no max in there. So there is that ability is there to get all of that if you're reading it there. I suppose if you're playing in a solo game, you might want to do that yourself and decide that you're going to put that limit in, or even if you're with friends, say, well, if we do all this, our guys are going to zip up the line, and we're going to, when we pick up the next book from Joe or whatever, we're going to cruise through it. So I mean, personally, with the homebrew missions, I would probably do a couple of them before the next book if you're going to follow it all chronologically. I can't even say it chronologically, because I think you would cruise through the book, cruising through the books too easily if you knock these through. I mean, some of these were done very early into the game being released, so there wasn't a lot out there. But I think it's definitely looked like a fun game. I'd like to have a go at this. So my first recorded game, I may actually do this one.
I only have one recorded Rangers of Shadow Deep game so far. I played with a friend, and we played the scenario hack from Spellcaster.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
And that was pretty brutal. We did not survive, me and my friend.
Oh right.
No one made it to the exit.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah. So some of these, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean that's the one thing about Rangers is you cannot guarantee that everybody's going to get out. I've seen it.
Yeah.
We played. We've played through. And the first time we did the book campaigns, we got through. We were going up the tower. Yeah, we didn't. Nobody got out off the level 3. Everybody was dead.
Oh wow! It's funny. Every time we played the tower at the top, we've always just murdered the Shadow Knight.
Oh, really?
Never pose any threat whatsoever. It's always disappointing.
Yeah, well, we got slaughtered. I think that it was dice rolls.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like we did something bad. But every time we needed every time we rolled a 15, the Shadow Knight rolled 18. And yeah, and okay, I'm dead. End of story. Let's next move on. So, but that was the first time. Second time we rolled the dice better. So,
oh yeah,
that's how it goes. But yeah, no. So Chuck, thumbs up from both of us. Not that we're going to give it any thumbs down, by the way. Going every single. I'm not going to be doing that. It's not to be. I think you've got a nice little mission there. I think if you are looking to play something that's tricky, you've got that thing. I think this is an ideal mission for it.
Yeah, you get a lot of experience, but you also have to survive. So
yeah, and I think that's it. Does it definitely gives you that concern? And if I would be concerned about maybe if I'm a higher level ranger, I'm not worried about my rangers, but if I've got those experienced companions, those guys are going to get nobbled if that thing gets near to you.
I think if you played through and survived with your ranger, probably after Temple of Madness would be a good place for this one. For a pretty balanced encounter.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, no, actually, that's quite good. Yeah, that is a good. That's the whole thing is good scenario there. So
once you decide where to put Blood Moon, that's always the tricky one.
Oh yeah. That is a tricky one. Yeah, but yeah, excellent. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next segment. So our next segment, ladies and gentlemen, is the 10-minute questions. Wow, no, it's not. It's going to be 10 questions.
10 questions.
10 questions. And I'm going to just go through and we're going to see what we could do and time it and put an actual timing against it, Chris. So, yeah, we're going to do the 10-question game and see how you can get through quickly and get through it.
All right.
So, okay, so the first question starting now. What was the fanzine called? The official fanzine.
Spellcaster.
No, it was Rangers. Sorry, it was the Star of Alador. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Name one hero skill.
Split cast.
Okay. It flies. It likes blood. What is it?
Blood bat.
It is indeed. Okay. It is a giant, but which one is it? It's got wings.
Terror beast.
Giant fly.
Oh, giant fly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Zombies. What fight does a zombie have?
+0.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah. Next one. Skeletal archers. What shoot do they have?
I think they're +0 as well.
They're +1, unfortunately.
+1. Yeah.
Okay. What is a humpback?
It's a camel, ogre, and what's the other one? Scorpion armed dude.
Yes. Yes. I know, it's very weird. Okay. Where is the whole of Rangers set in? What kingdom?
Alador.
It is Alador. Okay. The newest book that's out. Do you know what you'll need a lot of for the last mission?
No, because I didn't read any spoilers.
Do you want? I can't tell you then. Okay.
No,
I'm not going to tell him. You need a lot of them though, so I haven't got them. And the last question is, if you were going to need somebody to help you with clues, what companion would you pick?
What are they called? Archivist?
Yes. Yeah, we'll take that.
Okay. Yeah, I've never taken one. My friends usually take one.
Okay, so we got 2 minutes 11, but I'm going to have to count up. You didn't get many right there, so I didn't write them down. So we're just going to call that okay, and there we go. So in the grand tradition that is Chris. We are still going to keep up with the silly question. So the silly question that I have, seeing obviously is our silly question time. So the silly question is, if you were going to join the Rangers and you only had one skill, which was cooking, how do you feel that would be contribute into fighting the Shadow Deep?
Well, cooking is a hugely important skill, because when you're in the deep, there's not much to eat. There's not much good water to drink. A good cook, though, can make anything edible.
That's very true.
I'm going to assume that I'm a good cook, so I can cook up the finest cultist fillets and null ribs.
Oh yes, I bet there's. Yeah, actually, I reckon a null would taste quite tasty.
I'm pretty sure you could survive off blood for days.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I don't know what humpback would taste like, but that doesn't.
No one eats humpback.
Yeah, a bit of grilled.
Yeah, chewy.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, that's that. Yeah, our first Rangers of the Shadow Deep podcast. I hope you enjoy it. I know I have. And thanks to Dave coming on to do our first one. We're going to be doing this once a month, like I said, and I hope to speak to you again shortly. And so I will say good night, good evening, and good morning, wherever you are.
And thanks for having me.
You're welcome, mate.